angsty youths and the movies that influenced us. This week on Jim Joe Steve Show.
Here's a story about 20 years ago. Three bros who grew up in Baltimore to the beach show. Every summer they had to go before they got married with kids. Now they all grown. Long trips to New York and Toronto. Playing beer pong with Captain Morgan's. Free throws. And if you don't know, now you know. Coming in hot, Jim Joe Steve Show.
Hi, and welcome back for another episode of Jim Joe Steve Show. I am Joe, and I'm here with two of my buddies, Jimbo.
Jim here. Hello.
How you doing, Jim?
I'm actually doing very well today.
Oh, good, good. And we got Steve. Steve-O.
Hey,
How you feeling, Steve?
I feel good-o.
Wow.
What are we drinking today? Because it tastes damn good.
It's another one, same one we had last week.
The same beer?
No. Same brewery, Equilibrium out of New York, the beer scientists.
It does kind of, I guess, have a similar taste.
And it's called 7 Is Up, and it's it's another double IPA, and it's delicious. And Steve is not enjoying it as much as we are enjoying it.
Steve with a scrunched up face.
I don't know.
It's good. I love it.
I want to like beers, but
Well, before we get into everything, because I know Steve does not like IPAs, I brought you. This is a very it's a sour ale. It was okay. I dug it, but you might really like it. It's Dan's Jams.
But do you like sours?
I like foofy beers.
And it's sour Skittles.
And Miller Lights.
It's
And Dos Equis.
I don't love sour. Some sour beers are okay, but sour beers in general, like to me, taste like stomach bile.
Sounds good. Let's open this. Let's crack this puppy open and see what this one tastes like.
I mean, this is it looks like a one-off kind of. I mean, it's made by Full Tilt, and I don't, I've had one over the summertime, and I thought it was decent. But this is a very specialty beer. After we're done this, we can crack that open. But
yeah, they all are. All the breweries are doing these limited releases. It sucks.
Before I forget, I saw one of my favorite movies growing up the other day.
What movie's that? Home Alone.
Well, I did see that, yeah, but that wasn't it. Steve,
You watch Home Alone way after Christmas?
no, I mean I watched it a couple weeks back. We always watch it during the holiday season. One of my favorite actors, Christian Slater.
Oh, I know exactly what movie.
Robin Hood.
What? It's not Gleam in the Cube.
It's not Gleam in the Cube, but I do know the answer
What's
to this.
Gleam in the Cube?
Huh?
I think the whole
Is that a movie?
80s.
Yeah,
Oh.
about Christian Slater when he was a skateboarder.
Oh, I don't know. Never heard of Gleam in the Cube. Never even
You
heard of it.
know.
Goddamn millennials. I missed all the good 80s and 90s movies.
Can I say it?
Yeah, go ahead if you think it is.
It's Pump Up the Volume.
It is Pump Up the Volume.
I've never seen that movie either. That one I do know of, though.
Just look in, and I will be there, waving out at you. Naked, wearing only a cock ring.
Now, does that movie hold up? Like, if I were to watch it today, having never seen it, would I still enjoy it?
If you can suspend technology for a moment,
Suspend technology?
like where we are at.
Oh, sure. I remember times before we had cell phones and things.
Looking back, it might be the movie that made my lifelong dream of being a podcaster of reality.
That's where it all started?
It started with that movie.
This is a song for the 90s.
Welcome to Dorina Central. May I take your order, please?
Yeah. That was deep.
You know what? When you were talking about making a studio, you should just make it like replicate Gleam. I mean, Pump Up the Volume. That blue light.
Yeah. So, and I had probably identified
some of our audience knows what movie we're talking about.
Most of our audience is our age and if you haven't seen Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater, it has one of the best soundtrack. I mean, it has the Pixies. It has a wonderful soundtrack with it. But the movie, the premise is Christian Slater is like a very introvert teenager that moves into like a new town, and by the day he's just a very nondescript kid, doesn't talk at school, very shy.
But by night, he pumps up the volume.
But by night, he pumps the volume. He has a pirate
wild
radio
one.
station.
Pirate radio
Yeah.
station? Oh, okay, cool.
And this radio station, in today's terms, goes viral in his town. But nobody knows it's him.
Okay.
So he, at nighttime, and his on-air personality name is Happy Harry Hard-On.
And that's when Jim really came
I
to
mean,
life.
that sold me. I mean, Happy Harry Hard-On, I mean, that's my shit. So, and it's like very outrageous, and he like fake masturbates into the microphone, and people are just going nuts for him.
So it's like smut radio. It's like Stern before Stern.
Yeah, just like a shock jock.
Right.
But in his real life, nobody suspects it's him, and the whole town is like, this whole high school is like, who is this guy? You know, and everybody's trying to figure it out.
Is he obviously a teenager on the radio, or do you think people think he might be an adult?
He changes his voice. He has a voice changer.
Okay.
So that's the premise, and then of course, you know, there's like a love story that happens, and then people figure it out, and the cops figure him out. But it's just a funny, just in general, it's a solid 80s movie.
I will watch that movie
Never
this month.
Okay. Now, back before you could like record on VCR. I mean, I was probably, I don't know, maybe if it came out in 1990, you know, I was 12, so I didn't really have access to like record it. But I did have my tape recorder, and I played the movie, and I recorded
The sound?
The sound. I recorded the whole movie's sound, and I listened to the movie every single day.
Get outta
here.
At night,
Really?
At night, I would just play the whole movie with my tape recorder. So looking back, I could probably, if you played it, I could probably say it verbatim many parts, just
That's
because I listened.
wild. You recorded just the sound.
Yeah. And I did, and because one, it had a great soundtrack, so it would play, you know, not the whole song,
Clips of the.
and it was one of those movies that I thought, that is the coolest shit I've ever seen, and look at me now.
And now you're living it out.
Yeah.
Pirate podcast.
And another movie which Steve and I have seen, and Joe has not seen this. Tom Cruise's second best movie ever.
His first being Top Gun.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I think this movie's better than Top Gun, but
I do.
I understand that it's
Or Days of Thunder.
no, Cocktail.
It's
Yeah, I
Cocktail.
didn't see Cocktail.
That-
Or Days of Thunder.
Coughlin's Law.
Anything else is
I
always something better.
watch Cocktail every spring, and it pumps me up for summer every time.
When he rolls down he's like, we're going to Jamaica, and he
And like his first day on the job, and he can't like spin the bottle yet, and then
he works at a TGI Fridays.
and
really?
It has like a good 90s montage, and the next thing he's like spinning the bottle, and they're like singing songs. He's pouring like the beer down like chicks' throats that are laying on the bar. Like it's a good solid.
It is
Good
an
time
awesome movie.
It
It is my favorite Tom Cruise movie.
I mean,
Before he got weird.
Yeah. Well, I don't. He does all the Mission Impossible movies, which are awesome. So
Well, it was okay before he got sentenced to.
America, you're just devoted to every flavor I've got. But if you want to get loaded, why don't you just order a shot?
Well, anyway, so can you watch two movies for us, Joe?
I could definitely watch Pump Up the Volume. I feel, yeah.
Now,
yeah,
and
okay.
let me say this.
you would probably like Cocktail more than you would like.
Oh, really?
Probably.
Okay.
And I don't like Tom Cruise as an actor. Like if he's in a movie, I won't go see it because I like Tom Cruise. It would
Like
have to.
you'd have to like the movie.
I'd have to like
You
the
don't
movie.
go
He's
for
not.
Tom
He's not
Cruise.
selling me on anything.
He's not the draw.
But that movie was made for him.
okay.
Like it was a really good movie.
I mean, so the movie that I watched the most as a child was Top Gun. We had it on a VHS tape, and I would watch it every single day. To the point where my parents, like, we went to my grandparents' house one time, and my parents were sure to bring that video with them, and then they left it there. So the only time I could watch it was when I went to my grandparents' house because I watched it. I've always been an
They
early
didn't take it
riser.
home the next time you went over there.
I feel the need for speed.
No, they wouldn't let me take it home. They made me leave it at my
It
grandparents'
was probably
house.
parents talk to the grandparents
Probably.
to get you off of that movie.
Probably. But yeah, I mean, like I've always
God damn it, we're so sick of watching fucking Top Gun.
Well, I wasn't even making them watch it because like I get up early in the morning. I would be up before everybody else in the house, and I would just go pop in the video and watch some Top Gun at 5:30 in the morning.
Sunrise,
Now,
driving down
how
the
old were you?
runway.
6,
Okay.
7.
My dad will tell you that when I was about that age, the Muppet movie. I did the same thing with the Muppet movie. I watched the Muppet movie 2-3 times a day for years, and I could still recite verbatim.
Stay away from women. That's my motto. But I can't. Neither can I. That's my trouble.
So did you want to be a Muppet as bad as I wanted to be a fighter pilot?
That's when you learned how to do Kermit.
That's
the
how
Frog
I learned.
voice.
That's probably what I learned. Kermit the Frog. But I could do the moving right along, diddy-dum, diddy-dum. I could do the whole movie, man. I try to get my kids because now it's like remastered into DVD or whatever.
Right.
And I try to get them to watch it, and they're like, eh. And I'm like setting them
when
up,
you try
like,
to
oh,
get-
this is
yeah.
so cool. And they're like, yeah. I think we got through like 10 minutes.
I think the movie that I probably watched the most. Well, I guess I liked a lot. I don't know. When I watched the most was this movie called Monster Squad growing up when I was a little kid.
Dude, I saw that for the first time this Halloween.
Really?
My coworker has like
Is she a version?
Wait till midnight and we get a virgin. A virgin? Okay, right. Then what? Well, our virgin takes the amulet, reads the magic spell from the book, and blammo, we blow a hole in limbo.
I've never seen that. Is it a?
Dude,
It's on
the
Amazon.
most ridiculous movie
But
in the
is it
world.
new or
No.
It's
No.
it's like I was little when it came out.
Joey saw it, and Joey actually. So my coworker has like a movie theater set up in the woods, like next to her house, like an outdoor theater.
Sounds legit.
Well, she's got like 6 acres of land, and she's got like this big like wooded area, and so she set up like a movie screen, and you bring like a lawn chair, and they do outdoor movies. So right before Halloween, they were watching Monster Squad and then some other movie that wouldn't have been okay for Joey to see, but we watched Monster Squad, and it was ridiculous. And Joey said to me, like, just like fairly recently, a couple weeks ago, he was like, Dad, remember when we watched Monster Squad? I was like, yeah. He was like, I think that's my favorite movie.
That's awesome.
I was like,
Joey and I have the same taste in movies.
All right, can you
mean-
give me the quick premise,
okay,
like the
so,
elevator speech?
So the Mummy, Frankenstein, Dracula, and like a swamp monster.
here's the
Creature from the
here's
Black Lagoon.
Yeah, creature from
sour.
the black. The sour beer. We're gonna try the sour beer. All come back to life at the same time in modern day 1980, whatever. And it takes. According to your faces, this beer tastes like stomach bile. I haven't tried it yet.
It's
No.
very sour.
It's sour.
Yeah.
I put my hand in.
But dude, that's funny. I had never seen that movie.
Yeah, it's
until
like,
this-
and then these
this
high school
past
kids got to
Halloween.
get the monsters to go back to like a different universe or
And,
whatever. So.
and the Monster Squad is like this group of kids that like hang out in a treehouse and they call themselves the Monster Squad.
yeah, and they all have to find like they're trying to find a virgin that has to read this like thing to send all the monsters back to time, but they don't know what a virgin is. So they keep going around pointing to people, asking them if they're virgins and stuff like that. So it's pretty funny. But I think like the movie that like influenced me a lot growing up, it was later in life, was
Monsters.
Mallrats.
Oh yeah,
Mallrats was
so good.
That kid is back on the escalator again.
How old was last night's subject, if you don't mind me asking?
25. It was the guy who runs that store, Fashionable Mail.
Holy shit, you slept with that asshole?
And it's like that Mallrats is the reason I watch every single Kevin Smith movie, and they're usually garbage. But
Really?
Kevin Smith later movies,
Like Chasing Amy was good.
Chasing
Oh,
Amy
yeah.
was good, but then and then when you get into like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot,
Dogma was good.
Dogma was actually my favorite Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah.
I
but-
think that's when he got a bigger budget,
yeah.
and
then,
the
like, he started
creativity
doing these-
wasn't there.
He's
Did he
doing
make
these
that-
weird
was there
movies.
like the Lobster movie. Was that him?
Tusk.
The Tusk.
Tusk,
Right.
where the guy turns into a walrus, and then Yoga Hosers, which is basically
I didn't see any of
I've
those.
never even heard of that.
they're awful movies. So, but Mallrats was like because I'd like to read comic books when I was growing up.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just
Stanley.
it had that in it, and then I liked Jason Lee was like my favorite character in it, and I was like, I searched everywhere for that shirt that he wore in the movie.
I don't even know what shirt it was.
I don't know. It was like some alien head squish. I don't know what it was, but I never found it.
Yeah, that movie was awesome. I saw that at my buddy Drew's house.
And there was a guy. There was this upcoming actor who worked at the Fashionable Mail.
Would later become your best friend.
later become best friend. But for some reason, I've always liked Mallrats.
That's a movie I can watch.
Yeah.
It's rarely on, but I can always watch it.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
We were at the beach one year, and somebody had brought up the Labyrinth. And
Steve, that's a Steve gimmick there.
Well, but I don't know if he's the one that brought it up. Somebody brought it up, and I had never seen it, and like Steve was like blown away that I hadn't seen it, and then all of a sudden like kicks into this song that they sing in the movie.
You remind me of the babe. What babe? The babe with the power. What power? The power of the hoodoo. You do what? Remind me of
so my baby.
That's the best part when you go from that like goofy rhyme to like actually sing.
I know.
And like I heard you do that. That was the end. That was very funny. But yeah, I've still never seen that movie, and that is one movie I won't ever see. Fantasy's not really my bag.
Sci-fi, not really. Here, I'm gonna name a movie title, and I know neither one of you have seen it. Summer School.
Yeah, I've watched Summer School.
Oh God,
is that Rodney Dangerfield?
No. You talk the Summer School that I'm talking about
with
Shoop?
It's got
the teacher.
Yeah, with Kirstie Alley is in it, and
Chainsaw.
Yeah, they do like they put
that
they're like makeup artists and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that movie. That is if there's an epitome of an 80s movie, Summer School is it.
Francis Grimm.
Oh, don't recall me that. The name is Chainsaw.
As in Black and Decker?
As in Texas Massacre.
Oh, yeah, that's in here.
It's in there. They got files.
Have House?
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
And I love 80s movies. I just like the whole feel 80s, and I love the montages, and I love the music.
I did love a good montage back in the day. Nobody does montages anymore.
The last good montage, and I'll throw you a curveball. Don't tell mom the baby's
Oh man.
I'm right on top of that, Rose.
Has the best montage out of all of them.
When they were getting ready for the party?
Yes.
Yeah. So I saw that. I remember we were visiting my grandparents in Long Island, and it was like, when we would go there, we would go for, like a week at a time. And it was like raining for days on end. And my mom took me to Blockbuster to rent a movie. And I picked that. And she was like, absolutely not. Like, just based on the title.
Because of Dead?
Yeah, because of Dead. And yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons or anything. Like, they were very,
Yeah.
So
well, okay.
I convinced her to let me get it, and I remember watching that movie and loving it.
It makes me understand a little bit more why I could not sleep in the office when I when I was there.
That was my stepmom.
Oh, okay.
My stepmom couldn't sleep with the files.
There's secret files.
Speaking of the Simpsons, not only could I watch them, but I bought what I thought was a pair of shorts that Bart Simpson was on back when you could buy just like shorts, and it had Bart Simpson on. And it said "Eat my shorts," but it wasn't shorts; they were boxers. And I wore them to school, open fly.
Like, because you didn't realize what you were doing, or because you didn't care?
I didn't realize I had underwear on underneath.
Okay,
but I wore them as they would be worn as shorts, and I didn't really realize it until like the end of the school day, and I thought, man, these shorts are really weird, and they're kind of see-through, and the fly just hangs open.
And my creepy science teacher really liked them.
Handle and shoulder.
That was just beginning to talk about fashion all the time.
I never wore them as shorts again.
I would hope not. I would hope not.
But no one said a damn word to me. Not my parents. None of my friends.
They just
teachers.
let you go.
I just went a whole school day, and I hope I'm the only one that realized it, but I think I'm not.
Do you think there are people that are adults now? They're like, God, remember that time that one kid wore boxers to school?
There's some.
You think they go to the reunions and talk about, man, whatever happened to that kid? I bet he's probably not making a podcast.
That's like, yeah.
I don't think so. However, in middle school, this random girl, I couldn't tell you her name, but she sneezed one time, and a booger flew out of her nose and landed on the desk. And I've been disgusted with it.
You've never forgiven her for it?
No, to this day, I just think,
bitch.
like, how dare her? And obviously she was probably petrified that it happened. And I just think that bitch is gross.
I sneezed on my buddy once in middle school in my history teacher's class. I remember I just turned and I did not realize he was right there, and I sneezed on him.
He's never forgiven you. I can tell you that.
Right.
That's like wearing in high school, or were you guys like? Did you just wear what everybody else wore, or did you wear like? I tried to be like that weirdo that dressed up and wore and I look back at it now, and I was like, God, I was such a freaking idiot.
Yeah, like I dressed pretty normal, but like it was very consistent. I remember the Tommy Hilfiger jeans, the Carpenter jeans that had like the loop with the logo on the loop.
Yep.
I had those. I had like a couple pairs of those, and all of my T-shirts were yellow. Like I only wore yellow T-shirts.
You found a shirt you liked, and you just went with it.
And I also, God, such a fucking dork. I also had those yellow lensed glasses that I would wear all
Only
the
the
time.
stoners in my high school wore them.
Yeah, you're like in Dazed and Confused.
Good company.
In high school, I'm not gonna say I'm the first person ever, but I just always liked different type of music, and of course the type of music you listen to kind of dictates a little bit. So one day, if I felt like dressing more, back in the day we called them yo boys. I don't know what they call them now. I would dress whatever, and then like maybe my big Jinkos the next day, and then maybe a Red Hot Chili Peppers or a Metallica shirt or something. And I remember these older kids making fun of me on the bus because they couldn't figure out, what box, to put them. So they were making fun of me that I didn't know whatever. And 2 years later, that same kid, now in like 12th grade, I was probably in 10th grade. That was started the Limp Bizkit Korn era, where rap and rock kind of converged. And then all of a sudden I was cool, and this older kid's now like asking me who I like to listen to, So I was just like, so kids, stay true to yourself.
Right. It'll work out.
Right.
Your time will come.
Right.
I always, my mom will bring this up, and then my daughter makes fun of me about it and stuff like that. Like I was the guy who like tried to be like, I'm going to be edgy, and I would wear like a skirt to school.
Wait,
I swear to God. And I would dress up because I was influenced by like Robert Smith and like that goth thing.
But you couldn't be the only one. I mean, I'm not saying skirts in school were big.
Well, one time I wore a black, it looked like a kilt kind of thing, but I wore it to school. And I always like,
you used
and
to tease your hair too.
Yeah, I did tease my hair, God. And it was.
I always
look back at it and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Like I was just trying to be like different and get a reaction out of people and things like that. And I always think about how stupid I looked. And then it's like in my high school yearbook, like I won like best hair. and
like sarcastically.
So thinking about it, I was like,
back then I think you probably.
So maybe I did. Or it was the fact that everybody was just making fun of me, and they put it in the thing, and I was like, took it as like a badge of honor.
I don't think somebody gets that many votes as a joke. High school is not really jokey.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like
it's mean,
but you can't get enough mean votes.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
Do you know what you probably for that era. You won best hair.
Yeah, and
everyone with that.
And it was like always funny because people like I would do it, and then it was like everyone knew who I was.
So then you had to tease your hair every day.
And then I remember one time, Robert
Is there
Smith.
a picture like in your yearbook of you with your teased hair?
No.
Oh, okay.
So the picture in my because I wanted it to be wild, in my picture, my yearbook picture, senior year, I like cut my hair short. And it looked stupid, and I was just like, I was just like, because I wanted it to be wild, you know. And I always think about how dumb, like dressing up to try to get a right, like to get people. Oh man,
I mean, you've got to tell
but that
people.
is high school.
Right.
If you don't do that in high school, you end up doing it later in life when it really counts.
One time, I wore this shirt. I don't know what the hell I was thinking about. I had like, you know, like a long sleeve, like a thermal shirt or whatever.
Waffle shirt?
Kind of like a waffle shirt.
The
But
one that he wants to come back.
Yeah. But I cut it so it was like stripped, so it came like, you know those like leather jackets that had the fringe?
Oh, yeah.
It was a shirt that I cut like that, and it was the dumbest thing in the entire world. And I remember I wore it one day and I was like, this shit is cool. And then I look back at it and I was like, I would never do that stuff now.
Well, I would certainly.
Did your wardrobe have a lot of safety pins in it?
No, it didn't have safety pins in it, and it was just
Chains?
No chains, no nothing. It was just
love.
And then I just tried to dress like Robert Smith, and I remember Robert Smith started wearing hockey jerseys.
Man, that's a real shift.
Kevin's like he would wear like
Kevin Smith wore a bunch of hockey jerseys,
and he would always wear. In one video, he wore like a Rangers hockey jersey. So I was like, I'm buying this Rangers jersey. So I bought this Rangers jersey, and I wore it. I would wear it to school and stuff like that. And when this guy, I remember in my like math class or something, he called me out on it. Because he was just like, "What's your favorite?" He was like, "Cool shirt. What's your favorite player on the Rangers?"
Robert Smith.
I was just like, "I like them all."
I celebrate their entire catalog.
I couldn't think, and I was like straight busted, and I was like, "Oh." And then I remember I saw that guy that called me out on it. I saw him at the beach on one of our beach trips one time. He was a bartender in one of the bars, and I talked to him about it, and he was just like.
Sorry.
And he was just like, I don't remember that. And I was like, it changed my life forever.
You reminded me of something, and I'm not going to get all like
nostalgic.
Yeah, or life coach.
Oh.
But that is a weird thing, and you were probably embarrassed. Embarrassment is just a personal thing. No one else remembers
when you're embarrassed. Yeah.
But you hold on to that forever.
Yeah.
But like if you said, raise your hand if you have ever been embarrassed, and everyone will raise their hand, and then raise your hand if you ever known, if you can remember somebody else being embarrassed. Nobody else can remember anyone else ever being embarrassed, and it's such a weird thing to hold on to because no one else but you ever remembers embarrassment.
Yeah.
So let go of that shit.
Yeah, look at that. Life lessons from Jim.
Yeah. God, Jim Joe Steve Show does so much stuff.
Changing lives.
Yep.
Talking about embarrassment in clothes and movies.
Who would have thought we would come here?
Yeah, I know.
In just 26 short minutes.
I remember in I think it was middle school, I had this No Doubt Tragic Kingdom t-shirt, and my buddy Tim had a Marilyn Manson shirt. And he was like, you want to trade shirts? I was like, hell yeah, I want to trade shirts. That shirt's awesome. So, and it was like a picture of Marilyn Manson from like
trade shirts in school.
Yeah, like we just swap shirts, and
I've never done
pro
that.
athletes at the end of a match.
I've never done that, but
it's the only time I've ever done that. And so I get home, I'm wearing this Marilyn Manson t-shirt. My mom was like, what's that? It's like, it's my new t-shirt I traded my buddy Tim. She's like, oh, cool. That's going in the garbage.
You should have known that. You couldn't watch The Simpsons.
I know. I thought I was getting mature and, able to make
Do
my
what I
own
want.
choices. Right.
Do you remember the one time I traded shirts with someone? That's the only time I've ever done it in my entire life.
Oh, was it when we went to soccer game?
We went to Hunfest.
That's right.
And
Paul, English Paul.
Yeah, English Paul.
Yeah.
And it was Joe and I met. We decided to go to Hunfest, and we were. I think we actually ran into you and Nicole.
We did run.
I've only been
when
to
Carter
Hunfest,
was
I think
just first
once
born.
or twice.
Yeah.
So
did
we
run into you guys.
went there, and then it was right during the World Cup, and Joe and I decided to like go into a bar and watch the game. And we met this guy, English Paul, and there's all these other guys from England.
They
in
were
there.
hooligans.
Yeah, and so we were like going back and forth, like trash talking, and then we all like were hanging out. And then at the end of the game, he was like, we got to trade shirts," and I just bought this. Like,
Oh, Donovan.
yeah,
Yeah.
my Landon Donovan, Landon Donovan. What do they call them? What do they call it? They're
not
not
a sweater,
shirts,
that's a
or they
hockey.
call.
I don't know.
They call them something special.
Jerseys.
Yeah, they should be jerseys, but they call them something else. But so he's like, it's customary where we have to swap them, and I was just like, oh fuck. I was like, all right, man. I don't want to insult this guy. So
Some stranger.
I just met, and he gave me his England jersey, and then I gave him my, and he was like in good shape.
Yeah, he was a firefighter.
He was a firefighter, and he was in good shape, and I'm not. And then so he gave me the shirt, and his is all like loose on him, and then mine is like, you can see my belly button. You can see my belly button.
We went to an Orioles game that day. Didn't we go to the Orioles game after that?
I think so. Yeah, and I had to wear this tight ass England
belly shirt,
jersey, and I was so uncomfortable the rest of the day, and then that was the only time I've ever changed. I don't think I'll ever do that again, unless they were like built just like me.
Did he? So he went to. So we ended up being buddies with this guy for a little bit. I think he like moved back to North Carolina.
He did.
But I remember he went back home to England for a period of time, and he brought home a bunch of stuff, including he brought me a Manchester City jersey.
Yeah, he bought us all jerseys and a whole bunch of other stuff. He was a good guy.
Yeah, he was cool.
So
English Paul.
Man,
we should.
I have his number in my phone.
Do you?
Yeah.
Give English Paul.
Fire
Paul,
up English Paul.
Yeah, but I haven't talked to you in like 15 years.
What are you doing at 1 a.m?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Well, now that we are officially movie critics, and that's that. And jersey swappers.
All right, so I
jersey
need to watch,
swapping movie critics.
I need to watch Cocktail and Pump Up the Volume. Which one should I watch first?
Since it's so big to Jim, watch Pump Up the Volume first.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And then
Cocktail.
But if you want to get into the mood, I'm sure you can find the soundtrack for Pump Up the Volume.
I can listen to that on my way home today.
It might be, still to this day, one of the best soundtracks for a movie.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
As good as Godzilla, with
Get These Hoes Off My Toes.
What? With the exception of
the Puff Daddy, the Godzilla soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah. In his song, he's like, "Get these hoes off my toes." That's my favorite song.
I mean, that's the exact song I was referencing, but I don't remember.
It's like a
that
Led
part.
Zeppelin. That has,
Right.
Yeah.
Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
Steve and I have one of the best soundtracks we like. I know Steve likes it. I think probably Joe likes too. What movie is it, Steve? Come on, pull it. You don't know?
No,
Project X.
Oh, Project X, yes.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was
that movie
Project
was
X.
awesome.
Yeah.
Jim and I went and saw that movie. We remember it was Jim and I, we went on like a Friday night, and it was like we're in our 30s, and it was just high school kids all around us. Jim and I got dinner beforehand.
it was an official date.
Yeah, we went on an official date, and then sat in the middle of the theater, and it was just all these kids. We were like, this is the kind of parties I like.
My favorite soundtrack's Empire Records.
That's another. Isn't that a Kevin Smith? Another Kevin Smith?
No, that was before. Well, I don't know if it was before Clerks, but that was like early '90s.
I feel like I've seen. I know the title, and I've.
Nev Campbell's in it, and Debbie Mazar.
Nev Campbell's not in it.
Not Nev. Oh, Liv Tyler.
Liv
Tyler.
Tyler.
Yeah, not Nev Campbell.
I'd have to
Liv
see
Tyler.
it.
And
Has Sexy Rexy in it.
Sexy Rexy.
Should we just switch our format to just talk about movies?
Yeah, we probably shouldn't do this. This is probably boring to the audience.
I mean,
could be, could
it's
be
too
not.
late. Too late now.
you
Guess
can
what
let
you
us
guys are
know
getting.
on our Twitter, Jim Joe Steve Show.
I mean, it was fun to me.
It was fun to me
I like
too.
to I like
guess
to rehash
what?
some old
If
movies.
it's fun to us, someone's got to find it.
So
we'll have at least 3 listens.
catch up on the 80 movies that we like.
Maybe one day we'll talk about new movies, but right now
the older movies are just better. When like in your 40s, when you look back, I think just the movies that came out when you were younger just resonate more.
Well, I mean, I think that's the way it is with everything.
Oh,
like,
no,
with
absolutely.
music too. Like the music you listen to, like in high school, is the music that sticks with you, like through the rest of your life.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. But
Too bad kids these days have to listen to shitty music
I
and
know,
watch
right?
shitty movies.
Get off my goddamn lawn.
Except the Project X soundtrack, because that soundtrack is so
Heads will roll.
Heads will roll.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, we will see you guys, hopefully, if you tune in next week, every Wednesday. Jim Joe Steve Show. Check us out on Twitter and
Facebook.
Everybody have a good night. Bye. See ya. Angsty Youths and the movies that influence.
And cut.